Today, we are diving into a technology that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's very, very real. Mixed reality. We're going to cut through the hype and get right to what it is, why companies are betting billions on it, and what it all means for you. But let's start with a simple idea. Just imagine for a second, what if all the apps, all the websites, all the digital stuff you use every day wasn't stuck on your tiny phone screen or your monitor? What if it could just exist in the room with you as interactive, 3D objects you could actually touch and move? Well, that's the big promise we're digging into today. So let's get into it. Before we can talk about where this is all going, we've got to be crystal clear on what mixed reality, or MR, actually is. I mean, the term gets thrown around a lot, so let's nail down a definition. The core concept here actually goes way back to a 1994 paper. These two researchers, Milgram and Kishino, they had this brilliant idea. They said, hey, reality and virtuality aren't separate things. Instead, think of it like a spectrum. On one end, you have the completely real world you're in right now. On the total opposite end, you have a completely virtual world. Mixed reality is everything that exists in between those 2 points. And this brings us to something that trips a lot of people up: the difference between augmented reality, AR, and mixed reality, MR. Now, you've probably used AR on your phone. It just overlays some digital info on top of your camera view. But MR is a whole different beast. It's about a true merger, where the digital things and the real things can actually interact with each other. Let's make this super simple. In AR, you might see a virtual ball floating in your room. Cool, right? But in true mixed reality, that virtual ball understands that your real-life table is right there. It won't just float through it. It'll land on it, it'll bounce, it'll roll across the surface. That seamless, believable interaction, that is the absolute game changer. And that game-changing potential, well, it's attracting an absolutely staggering amount of cash. The numbers we're about to see tell a story of massive, almost unbelievable corporate faith in where this technology is headed. So get this. By 2032, the high-end forecast for the mixed reality market is projected to be a massive $100 billion. That is a gigantic leap from where it is today, and it signals that we are on the cusp of some truly transformative growth. And it's not just about the size of the market, it's the speed. Some analysts are predicting a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of as high as 44.2%. Folks, that isn't just steady growth, that is an absolute explosion. It's one of the fastest growing areas in the entire tech world. And if you want to see what that kind of commitment looks like, just look at a company like Meta. They are pouring roughly $20 billion, with a B, dollars a year into their Reality Labs division. This isn't some side project, it's an all-in, long-term bet that this will be the next great computing platform. So what you have is this battlefield of giants: Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Sony, all vying for control. Right now, North America is the biggest market, no question. But you're gonna want to keep a close eye on the Asia-Pacific region, because it's forecast to become the fastest growing market on the planet. But the big question is, where is all this money actually making a difference today? Right, so enough with the future predictions and market hype. Let's get down to brass tacks. Where is mixed reality delivering real, measurable value right now? And the answer, overwhelmingly, is in the business world. Forget about theoretical benefits for a second. A major study that looked at companies using MR for employee training found a remarkable 219% return on investment. That's a hard, cold number that proves this isn't just a fancy gadget. It is a seriously powerful business tool. And let's just zoom in on the full financial picture here. Over 3 years, the total benefits added up to over $6 million. And the payback period? How long it took to earn back the initial cost? Less than 6 months. When you see numbers like these, you can understand exactly why major corporations are taking MR so seriously. So you've got huge companies like Pfizer and Accenture using this to train their people in incredibly realistic, yet totally safe virtual environments. In healthcare, it's completely changing how medical students learn complex anatomy. And in manufacturing, it's become the main way to interact with digital twins, which are basically perfect virtual copies of real machines. Okay, but let's be real. The road to a mixed reality future is definitely not a smooth one. There are some huge technical hurdles to overcome, and maybe even bigger ethical questions that we absolutely have to answer before this stuff can really go mainstream.
One of the biggest physical problems right now is something called the field of view. I mean, think about it. Your own eyes give you this huge panoramic view of the world, about 200 degrees. The really advanced Apple Vision Pro gets you about halfway there, at 100 degrees. But a leading business device like the HoloLens 2, it's just 43 degrees. That's like trying to experience this incredible new world by peeking through a mail slot.
And the hardware challenges are one thing, but then we get into brand new, really complicated privacy problems. And that brings us to a creepy sounding term you're going to be hearing a lot more about: spatial doxing. So what is it? You see, these devices don't just see what you see, they're constantly scanning and mapping your entire environment, your home, your office. They can track your eye movements, how you walk, where you are, every single physical interaction. Spatial doxing is the very real, very scary threat of someone using that incredibly personal data to figure out exactly where you live, what you do every day, even who you are. It's a massive privacy risk we're only just starting to wrap our heads around. So even with these huge challenges, where is all of this going? Well, the future of mixed reality isn't really as a standalone thing. It's more like the connective tissue for the next digital frontier. The real power here gets unlocked when it merges with artificial intelligence. AI will be what builds the endless virtual worlds, and mixed reality will be the door we walk through to step inside them. It's going to be the main way we interact with those digital twins that run our factories and our cities. The end goal, the big dream, is a world of what's being called spatial computing, where digital information is just a seamless, natural, helpful part of our everyday physical world. Which leaves us with one final kind of mind-bending thought. This technology is being designed from the ground up to fundamentally blur the lines between what is physical and what is digital. So as these two worlds continue to merge and melt into one another, we have to ask ourselves a pretty profound question. What will it even mean to be real?